Hey everyone, it's Natalie. Um, so after being on this journey for so long, now that I'm like really out of the abuse from my in-laws, I see things a lot more clearer. And I see the times that I didn't hold myself accountable or responsible for negative reactions. Um, And, my conclusion of that is, which we all know, is that that was the whole goal of the narcissist, was to upset you constantly because she needed you out of her family. And she's going to do anything she can to make you look like the bad guy. And so if I could do all of this over again, and I was still choosing to be in this relationship with my husband, I would just have lived my life the way I wanted. Because anyone that's waited 14 years before they got married seeking approval from the narcissist did nothing but waste over a decade of their life with somebody. And that's what happened to me. We tried for 14 years to get his parents to like me, and nothing ever changed their minds about me. So I found myself at 28 years old finally getting married and then having a baby within a year later. And I truly do believe that if I had just gotten married in the first 4 or 5 years, I would have more than one child. And I also think I'd have more than one child if I didn't have so much stress in my life when it, came to my narcissistic mother-in-law. At one point in our relationship, my husband, we're getting mistreated so bad that we decided that we didn't even want to have children. Because why bring children into this? Like, they're not giving you, I don't know, they're not giving you the self-respect that you need to build your confidence to know that you're going to be a good parent. Because you look at their parenting style and you think, oh my gosh, like the worst parent in the world, like so manipulative, so abusive. And so it kind of hinders the way that you feel about having children, or at least it did with me. Because you're like, why would I ever have children with somebody who I know is going to be the grandmother to my child and bring them into a abusive situation? Because if the narcissist is willing to treat me this way, I could only imagine what she would do to my child. Because see, the narcissist also gets revenge or vendetta against you through your children. But times changed, and we decided after 14 years being together that we were going to stop seeking approval from them. And that, we fought for it for so long, we didn't get it. So it's just time to live our life. And I think that's so important to take from this message today. You just live your life. Your partner might try to base decisions in your relationship on what your in-law, future in-law, or what their parent wants. But it doesn't mean that you have to go along with it. This is your relationship too. And for our partner to put their mother or their father at number one priority before you is not the way relationships work. When you are in a committed relationship with somebody, especially sexually and emotionally, the number one relationship in that person's life is the one that they're sharing it with. if you are with somebody on a daily basis and you are making new memories and new traditions, then that relationship is top priority. And so you start treating your relationship as it is, and stop putting it on the back burner. Because at this point, if you are just, keep going along with what the narcissist wants or thinks of you, you're not putting yourself number one, that relationship. Because when you're forming a relationship, you're also forming a new identity in that relationship. So now you are a couple. So you had your individual identity, but when you start building a relationship with someone, you're building a new identity as a couple with the other person. And see, that's what the narcissist doesn't like. They see that bond, that connection, that new identity forming. And it really upsets them. It scares them. They turn nasty. They turn mean. They start making up lies and smearing you and everything to break that interaction, that bond between you and their child. That is the goal. And they will do everything under the sun to destroy that relationship. And the harder you fight for it, the harder the narcissist will push back. And so if you find yourself in a situation where you're maybe just dating at first, if you're dating someone, let's say after 5 years, I waited 14 years before I got married. Say after 5 years, you're still not getting accepted and you're getting punished for being in love with someone's child. That relationship can be doomed because it never stops. Nothing ever changes. And so if you're willing to fight for your relationship, please do me a favor and don't put that priority relationship, the identity of you as a couple, on the back burner and put the narcissistic mother-in-laws first. Because you lose interest within that relationship after some time because you're so worried about disproving someone, finding acceptance with someone, that connection and bond is no longer as strong as it once was because you have prioritized getting acceptance from someone that you're not even having sex with, someone that you're not having children with, someone that you're not sleeping in the same house with. So you're making a lot of life decisions based on someone that you're not even married to or going to get married to. But when you're in this situation, it can feel like that. And the mistake that I made and that I have had to fix was focusing on the narcissist and that relationship first and how I could fix it. Because over time, the bond, the strength within my relationship with my husband, it just wasn't what it once was because I was too busy with something else. And so if you're in this situation, stop looking for acceptance from your partner's parents. Focus, laser focus on that relationship that you have as, identified as a couple. Because that's the one that's going to matter the most when it comes down to being happy. Okay? And I can say that if you are engaged, let's just say 5 years, like I said earlier, you have some really big decisions to make and you really have to question, is that relationship worth it? Because I can tell you when I finally gave up trying to find acceptance or disprove the narcissist. My relationship with my husband was in shambles. In shambles. And at one point, I felt nothing. I was numb from pain. I was numb from the uphill battle that I was constantly in with his parent. And so, if you decide to stay, be prepared. And I can tell you the number one thing that you need to do in this relationship is do not react negatively to the narcissist. That reaction is what she is fishing for. That reaction is what she needs to prove that you are a horrible person, even though that reaction is out of anger and hurt from an action by the narcissist. See, because not everyone sees what the narcissist does because it's not spotlighted. They're hiding that agenda. But when you react to that action, it is highlighted in everyone's face. It's gone around and gossiped about and everything else. So reacting negatively does nothing but hurt your character because it's not who you are anyways, right? It's just a reaction out of emotion. That's not who you are. That's not how you live your life. It's because you're upset. I get the question a lot. If I had known what I would go through to be with my husband, would I still be with him? And that's a very complicated question because on one hand, I would say no, I would not have been with him for 23, 24 years if I knew my life was going to be an uphill battle with his mom. But in the same instance, I would say, yes, it was worth it because we have built a beautiful life together. Everything that we have fought for tooth and nail. And I think holding myself accountable for my future is what gave me the life that I have now. Sometimes you have to just fight for what's right, I guess. And if you focus on your relationship and where it's heading, you could have a beautiful life like I do too. Now, it's really easy to let the narcissist discourage you and keep you in poverty or, keep you unmarried or whatever it is, whatever the agenda is. You can allow it if you want, but it's not going to get you anywhere. If you want a beautiful life for your beautiful children, then you fight for it. That's what I can tell you. Because I honestly don't think I would appreciate everything that I have in my life right now. I definitely do not have any kind of entitlement. That's for sure. Because everything, literally everything that we have ever had in these 24 years was by our own accord. It wasn't hand-me-downs or favors, because we're always in this uphill battle. We always felt like even if we were in trouble somehow, we could never go to his parents for help. Never. And I'm not just saying like financially, just like emotionally, spiritually, things like that, because we were being judged so hard. And so I think it held us accountable for the way we lived our life because we knew we didn't have someone to rely on, to talk with, to guide us. We didn't have that. So we came up with our own guidelines. And yes, I did have my family, which they never understood why we cared so much about his parents. They really never understood that because my husband had such a wonderful or has a wonderful relationship with my family. Has a wonderful one. Like, way closer than he does with his very own bloodline. Me and my husband, anytime we've ever needed someone to talk to and help guide us, my mom and dad, and even my older brother, has always been there propping us up. And so I, in some ways, yes, I would have stayed with my husband because of this wonderful life I have. But at the same time, would I do it all over again for him? Probably not. Probably not. Because as I said, I might have a beautiful life right now, but maybe I could have had this same beautiful life a decade ago. Because we made choices in our life based on his parents. We started late in life. We didn't get married until we were almost 30. We didn't have children until we were almost 30. Or he was in his 30s. I was barely a year before 30. So a lot of the decisions that we made did mold our future. And so if you're in that situation, you can't allow a narcissist to mold your future. You mold your own future. No matter how much your partner fights with you about, what his mother wants this way or that way, her opinion, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. You have to ignore it. You have to find strength within yourself to stand firm in your decisions, your belief, and your boundaries up against your partner, because he will push back or she will push back. That's just the way it's going to be until they see that you no longer are going to play those games of his parents. And I can tell you, the moment that my husband saw that change in me, he quit pushing back. He knew I was dead serious. He knew I was dead serious. And when that change in me happened, a change in him happened. And I can tell you to stop reacting, complaining so much to your partner is also a big one, because you want to make sure that you're not constantly on your partner's case about their parents. That if it's little gaslighting things they're doing and stuff, you have to choose and pick the battles you really want to bring to the spotlight. Because trust me, if you nitpicked every single little thing, you'll just be in a bickering match with your partner for the duration of your relationship. So I know at first I used to complain a lot. Oh, I would cry. I'd be so upset. But then I started to see that it was affecting my relationship with my husband. And I say, you know what? People are going to be mean. People are going to be rude. And if I went around nitpicking at everyone of how rude they were, that's all I would do. So I decided to start choosing and picking these situations to talk to him about. Because it does get old for your partner to constantly hear, and I really hate to be the one to say this, but to constantly hear you moaning and groaning about his parents, even when it is valid. You will destroy your relationship. Because every day the narcissist is going to do something to destroy you. So that choice of you saying, well, is this worth, me addressing, or just ignoring it? Because what I found with my partner is that the things that bothered me a lot, these little things, are things that he actually learned to block out, learned to ignore when it came to his mom, because he had normalized it, that when she did say things that were rude or inconsiderate, he's like, I don't care. Think what you want. And his attitude literally was like, I don't really care what she has to say when it comes to things, when it was dealing with him or just by her actions. But at the same time, because I wasn't, used to people acting that way, and it was hard for me to normalize it, I always put a spotlight on it. Because even though he normalized it, he's like, oh, that's just my mom. I don't really care what she thinks. But which is a lie. But when I started having this same little nonchalant attitude of whatever, you can think whatever you want. I'm still going to make my own choices. You want to judge me, judge me. I don't care. That is literally the attitude you have to have when you're dealing with this person. And my life would be a lot different if I didn't have a narcissist as a mother-in-law or a father-in-law. And I would say the reason why the father-in-law in some ways because, he does exactly what his wife wants. So in some ways, he's being selfish and narcissistic too. Even if he's not a narcissist, he's a narcissist by proxy. I don't know. At this point, I'm rambling, guys. Yeah. Things could be a lot different. But at the same time, I appreciate the fight. As hard as that's hard, it's hard for me to say that. I also appreciated the fight because it sculpted me like clay, it shaped who I am as a person and my future. And I'm not complaining right now. Life is good. I have a beautiful child. I have a beautiful family. And I am on my healing journey after almost 4 years of wiping my hands clean and stop caring what the narcissist has to say. And it takes time for your partner to get used to it, but they get used to it. And then your life, you get it back. And the sucky part is when you are getting your life back, you're also healing. So you're also living through those traumas. That's the sucky part. And so you really have to fight for your life. And it sucks because for you to have to kind of, in some ways, once you go into contact with the narcissist, kind of restart your life with your partner the way you want to live it, it's already, that relationship's already dragged in the dirt. It's all, mucky and muddy. So you got to clean that relationship up. And sometimes people can't get those stains out. They can't clean up that relationship. So I'm just lucky that, number one, my husband's a scapegoat. Because the golden child, I don't know. It's very hard to change that golden child. I've only talked to one woman in all these years. One woman. And then read one comment. So I guess 2 women that said that they were able to get the golden child disconnected from the narcissist. And thousands of people watch my channel. Okay? So the stats aren't very good if you're with the golden child. It's not very good for you. And matter of fact, every single person I've ever talked to that was in a relationship with the golden child ended in divorce. Maybe during life coaching, they weren't in the midst of divorce. But once I think you start to recognize what's going on, you're not going to tolerate it anymore, which is hard for your partner to see because they have made you normalize their parents' behavior as well. And so you're a sheep. And when you go away from the flock, he's over there abusing you. And so now you're being abused by the narc. And now you're being abused by your partner. And it's just like this because he's a golden child. He needs you to go along. He needs you as a meat shield. He needs you as a meat shield. He can't lose you. You're protecting him from abuse. It's crazy as it is. But, sorry, back to my point. I'm just very thankful that my husband woke up and we both cleaned up our relationship. And basically, in some ways, picked up the pieces where they fell and rebuilt our life. So what you have to do if you're in a situation like this. I don't know. All right. Peace, love, and harmony. See ya.